What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Mob. If you are rocking with this content, go ahead and smash that like button for your boy. But y'all know what time it is. It's list time. The top 10 rappers of 2024. Let's get to it. All right, so these are 10 rappers, 10 MCs who I feel got busy and made some pretty big moves all of 2024. So my criteria was that they had to have a solid output of albums, more than one project that was at least 4 mics. They also had to have a strong enough lyrical skill set. But to be clear, this also isn't a list of just super lyrical MCs or underground MCs that have a similar aesthetic. And lastly, each rapper on the list had to have some kind of overall buzz, or they just had to make big enough moves throughout the year. But before I jump into the top 10, I do want to include some honorable mentions. The first one would be Crime Apple. This Jersey MC put out a plethora of very solid projects. I'd also add Mickey Diamond because he had an active presence in the underground. I would also have to throw in J. Cole, despite backing out of the beef in the manner in which he did. I know a lot of people gave him flack for that, but J. Cole started out the year on a really strong note with a fire album. For the female artists, I would have to say Shay Noor and Lotto would be the honorable mentions. Now, I thought Shay Noor's album was a little better than Lotto's, but those would be my two favorite female rappers of the year. And the last two individuals likely for the honorable mentions for me would be Rome Streetz and Lloyd Banks. But getting right into this top 10 list, at number 10, I have Snoop Dogg. Now, Snoop only had one album, Missionary, but it ended up being one of my most replayed projects of the year. That's probably an unpopular view because I recall seeing an overwhelming number of folks very critical of the Missionary project in the comment section. They said it was the worst album, it was complete garbage, and I felt like I was on another planet reading some of the comments. But still, Snoop on the mic came across sounding the best that he has in a long time. But the other reason I chose Snoop was because he was instrumental in bringing both the East Siders and the Dog Pound together for their two projects. And Snoop was featured quite a bit on both releases as well. So therefore, I do feel Snoop was worthy of a top 10 spot. For number 9, I have El Camino. So this Buffalo artist is very slept on and very versatile. In 2024, El Camino actually dropped 5 projects. 4 of them were more boom bap traditional inspired, while his most recent was more melodic and trap based. So while I did not prefer his newest drop, Full Moon, as much as the others, it was still something different that showed his ability to go into different bags musically. I mean, he wasn't afraid to change it up. And yeah, El Camino was definitely one of the hardest working artists in 2024. At number 8, I have Kendrick Lamar. So I had to be objective here. Kendrick did have a fantastic year, whether you are a fan of his music or not. Now, I personally don't get into his music as much as some other folks, but I had to hand it to him. He did check off a lot of boxes in 2024. He was labeled victorious in the battle, and his name just managed to ring bells throughout the whole year. Kendrick could also be credited for likely unifying the West Coast and inspiring some type of West Coast hip-hop resurgence. And in addition, his GNX album was very well received. Some people enjoyed it a little more than I did, but I still could recognize that it was well done. At number 7, I have Blue. So this South Central MC was rapping all year like he had a point to prove, pumping out a plethora of strong projects. So my favorite from Blue this year would have to be his Love is Blue collab with Exile. I also dug his Los Angeles project produced by Evidence, even though I did not get to review it. It was a gritty homage to his city of Los Angeles. And both his Royal Blue and Out the Blue were solid drops as well. For number 6, I have Rock Marciano, the underground legend from Pimpstead. Now in 2024, Rock Marcy had an impressive year, releasing releasing 2 projects that were regarded as some of the best that underground hip hop had to offer. The first being Marciology, my favorite of the 2 due to the production, but his second one, The Skeleton Key, did have some of his flyest wordplay and best rapping overall. So yeah, Rock Marcy's presence was definitely felt most of the year, especially in the underground. For number 5, I have Benny the Butcher. So Benny, like several other artists on this list, has been consistently dropping heat for the past couple years. Now, in 2024, Benny the Butcher put out 2 very solid projects and a dope collab album. His highly anticipated Everyone Can't Go did not meet some Griselda fans' expectations, but it still had a decent amount of replay value for me. It did seem as though more fans tended to embrace his Summertime Butch release a little more, but I honestly thought that both were pretty equal in quality, just slightly different sonically. But Benny's best performance might have been on his collaboration with 38 Special for that Stabbed and Shot 2. And in addition, Benny did get busy on the feature front this year. Number 4, I have Ransom. Now, this Jersey City MC has been on a stellar and inspiring second run of his career ever since 2020, dropping a multitude of projects annually with mad quotables to dissect. And Ransom continued in 2024 to push the envelope lyrically, rapping at a high level all year like his life depended on it. At the start of the year, Ransom had dropped the dope Lavish Misery with Harry Fraud. He followed that up with the Smoke and Mirrors EP produced by Made in Tokyo. And he dropped the impressive sequel to Chaos Is My Ladder produced by V Dawn with Conway the Machine. And more recently, Duffel Bag had released his Even.biz exclusive album, The Cabrini Green Project. Now, unfortunately, that was not uploaded to streaming services, but it was one of his best of the year. For number 3, I have Don Trip. So this Memphis rapper is criminally slept on and unsung. For 2 years now, this artist has been dropping 1 project per month, beating Flea Lord's record of 12 in a year. Remembering when Flea Lord did that, we all thought that was insane, but Don Trip managed to give us 24 albums in the time span of 2 years, which is wild and just hard to keep up with. Even though I didn't get to hear all of them, it seemed like the lyrical content was consistently dope across the board. But some of the standouts for me this year from Don Trip would have to be This Message Will Self-Destruct, In Loving Memory, and Revenge of the Fallen. So yeah, Don Trip definitely deserves his flowers, but he doesn't tend to get them as much as he should. And I think that's primarily because he's from the South, and also because he's independent. For number 2, I have Rochester's own 38 Special. Now, 38 belongs this high on the list, not only for his work on the mic, but also for his presence on the boards. In the summertime, he laced Graph with some fire instrumentals for the God's Timing project. But on the solo tip, Special dropped his most personal album yet, Mother and Gun, a project that has some of my favorite Special tracks of the year. And of course, 38 snapped on that collab album with Benny. Yeah, Special was outside putting in work all 2024. That brings us to the number 1 rap artist of 2024. That's Bal James. So, like Ransom, and I hate to even have to compare, but Bal has been on this extraordinary run for the past 4 years, never taking his foot off the gas. In early 2024, he had dropped the noteworthy Penalty of Leadership with Nicholas Craven just shortly after surviving a near-death car crash. Afterwards, he released a very solid Across the Tracks with Conductor Williams. That was followed up by The Brictionary, produced by Harry Fraud. And most recently, Bal wrapped up this year with Hidden in Plain Sight, produced by Who the Hell is Carlo. The thing about Bal James this year and in past years is that you could count on him to give you a 4-mic project every time. So those were my top 10 rappers of 2024. If I didn't include someone that you love, don't get mad. It's just my take. But feel free to drop your top 10 below. As always, it's peace and blessings. I'm signing out. It's your boy Mixtape Mob.